لا لا So the Masnavi described yesterday that if you are a Musafir, are you following a Muqim? So just most common scenario of this Masla would be, for example, you went to Makkah for a few days, that I take that soon. You went to Medina for a few days, you were spending less than 15 days there, right? So you are a Musafir, you are a Musafira, so you really behind the Imam. So the moment you read namaz behind the Imam, now you have to read full namaz. The next masla is the interesting masla. The next masla that we're going to do is this here. A lot of people ask this question also. Okay, before we do the question in the masla in the kitab, I want to explain another masla. If you you're not supposed to must salah, astaghfirullah, Allah will protect us. If you must salah while you are a musafir and you're back home, and you're going to make the salat, what do you do? Look, man, you read full or you read qasr salat? What you do? Come again? If I was traveling and I missed some salat when I was traveling, now I'm back home now to make the salat. What do I do? My qasr or itmam? I read a full namaz or you make qada according to how you must it, and vice versa. If you must salah while you're at home, so if it's a simple example, just to understand, somebody got some qada salat, right? You must salah here. Now you went for umrah, you went for hajj, whatever. Okay, some scenarios you can be a muqim in a hajj. We'll explain this. It's also coming in the kitab. But say, for instance, you are a musafir in Medina, or you musafir in Makkah, whatever, and now you're making your qadās. You're making your qadās. If that namaz became qadā while you are a muqim, you have to make itmam. If a salat became qada while you're musafir, even though by your house, you have to make qasr. You have to make qada of qasr namaz. And the reason is quite simple. You people done this in detail in your usul shashi nurul anwar, that the time is a sabab. So that the last moment when before you read the salah, or if the whole salah became qada, then that time there, when you look at what you were, if you were muqim at that time, then the muqim salah became wajib upon you. If you were musafir at that time, then the musafir salah became wajib upon you. You understood what I'm saying? So having understood that now a person must some salat while he was on safar. So now, like I told you, because he missed the salah while he was on safar, that salah becomes a qasr salah becomes wajib upon him, right? And he found somebody else who's making qada of itmam. So you got a surah now. You have to follow the surah properly. The surah is, I was traveling, and I missed my Zohr namaz. I never read it, whatever, Allah protect. Then I came back to my house, or maybe not even to my house. I came to a place where I was staying more than 15 days, whatever. And somebody's making qada, the same Zohr namaz. And he is a muqim. He's not a traveler. And I'm a musafir. Can I read my qasr namaz behind him? We know when you are making ada means you're reading in the proper time. Then it's fine, because when you say nawaitu bi iqtida'a hadha al-imami, I'm intending to follow this imam, your compulsion changes from qasr to itmam. We know that one. But this is after it became qada. So the masla is you can't follow that person. Why can't you follow that person? Because like I told you, once the sabab wujub was there already, when the time exited, what happened? That salat became wajib upon you in a qasr manner. Only 2 rakats became wajib upon you, right? So you got 2 rakats wajib upon you for Zohr, and he's reading 4 rakats. So you'll ask me now, okay, 2 is wajib upon you. What's wrong if you read 4? You can read 4 behind a person. There's 2 problems with this. The first problem is this. Now, there's another usul that comes in here. Remember, in a nafil namaz, sorry, in a faraz namaz, look at me nicely, in a faraz namaz, the first tashahud is wajib, right? And the second tashahud is faraz, right? That is why, if in a faraz namaz, you must, the first tashahud, if the online people are not following, you must just tell me, inshallah, there's three things you need to keep in mind. But I'm going to put it into the kitab now. Follow again. If you're reading a faraz namaz, 4 rakat salat, the first tashahud we done this, those who are from the beginning, they know what we're talking about. In the faraz namaz, it's one salat, it's considered to be 4 rakats, it's one. So the first tashahud is wajib, is not faraz. And the second tashahud is what? Is faraz, right? Are you with me? Now, this person here, who 2 rakats Zohr became wajib upon him. The first tashahud is what on him? It's faraz or wajib? The first, well, he's only supposed to be making one tashahud. So that first tashahud is what? That first tashahud is faraz. So when he follows the imam, he's making 4 rakats. And he's supposed to be making 2 rakats. His tashahud is a faraz tashahud. But imam's tashahud is a nafil tashahud. So it is muftarid khalf al-mutanafil. You know, in the Hanafi madhab, muftarid khalf, you can't be reading a faraz namaz behind a person reading nafil namaz. Ne? But here, it's not the whole namaz, but it's only the tashahud, which is the tashahud, which is faraz for the musafir. Although he's a mukim now, but he was a musafir. He's reading a faraz, what you call it, he's reading a faraz tashahud behind a wajib tashahud. You understand what I'm saying? And it's, you can't read a weaker behind a stronger. Right? That's the one thing. And the other thing is, say for instance, you join the imam in the second rakat or in the third rakat. Right? Now we know, look here, you know that in a faraz namaz, also according to Hanafi madhab, in the third rakat and the fourth rakat, that qiraat is not wajib, isn't it? That qiraat is nafal, right? And if this person joined that person in, say, the second rakat, so that means in his first rakat, what is he doing? In his second rakat, his qiraat is supposed to be faraz, but he's following a person whose qiraat is nafal. You understand what I'm saying? You follow? It's quite a few usul day. I hope people got it. If anything not clear, you can let me know. Anyway, read the ibarat now. Read the text, Yusuf. No, wa in dakhala. Is it from there? وَإِنْ دَخَلَ مَعَهُ فِي فَائِدَةٍ لَمْ تَجُزْهُ. So what is saying? What it means? If the musafir, after he became a mukim, he joined a mukim, a qaza salat. You got the scenario? Luqman, you got the scenario? I repeat it scenario. If a person who missed his namaz in safar, and as a result of that, he got a qasr wajib upon him, he went and joined a muqim imam with his qadha namaz, and somebody is making qadha of zohr, and he wants to read his qasr zohr behind a muqim zohr, it will not be permissible. That's what he's saying there. You understood that? You got it, Yusuf? See that? وَإِن دَخَلَ, who's here? You see there? Al-Musafiru, right? The person who, yeah. So okay, doesn't mean that he came back home. It could even happen on Safar also. Because look here, maybe I went to Joburg, right? And I was traveling, you live in Joburg, right? And I came to Joburg. And somehow the other both of us missed our salat, right? So now you're mukim in Joburg, right? And I'm a musafir. So we decide to make jamaat. So I can't make itmam behind you, right? You understood the scenario? Because what I gave you the reasons here. Once the time came out, then a musafir namaz became wajib upon me. It means 2 rakats became wajib upon me, right? And then there's the reasoning. I'll do the reasoning again from look it up for you. But the scenario, you got the scenario, right? Remember, the first step in understanding any masla is to understand the scenario, what we say in Arabic or in Urdu, Suratul Masla, to understand the surah of the masla. وإن دخل معه في فائتة لم تجوزه, if he entered with him, يعني إذا المسافر entered معه مدى مقيم في فائتة in أي قضاء نماز لم تجوز, it will not be permissible. Why? لأنه لا يتغير بعد الوقت, because after the time has come out, after, right, his qasr namaz cannot change to a faraz namaz, like how he can change in the work, in the time when he follows the muqim imam. Right, are you with me? You got it. لأنه لا يتغير بعد الوقت لانقضاء السبب, because the sabab, remember what is the sabab? What is sabab? Means the cause of compulsion. What makes salat compulsory upon you is experiencing the time. When you experience the zohar time, that time makes zohar wajib upon you. That's why if you die before the zohar time come out, before the zohar time expires, then you're not responsible for the zohar. If you die before asr time came out, or even a woman, for example, while it is still zohar time and she experiences a haze before the zohar time come out, that zohar falls off her. You understand what I'm saying? Or maybe asr time, before the asr time came out, she experiences haze. Then asr comes out, isn't it? Right. It falls off her. The same thing what we're saying is you look at the time in which it has become faraz. So this Zor has become faraz while he was a musafir. So safar namaz or qasr namaz or musafir namaz has become wajib upon this person. So لأنه لا يتغير بعد الوقت. So it will not change after the time لإنقضاء السبب, because the sabab wujub, the reason that made wajib is finished already, right? They're saying كما لا تتغير بنية الإقامة. Same thing like how if you, like the masla I explained to you now, that if you miss your namaz while you are a musafir and then you came back home, we won't say now, because you're home now and you missed your zohar namaz, now you have to make 4 rakats qada namaz. We'll still say no. That salat became compulsory upon you when you were musafir. So you still have a musafir namaz wajib upon you. And the converse is also applicable. If, for example, you, like I told you, namaz became wajib upon you while you were at home and then you are traveling. So when you are traveling, we won't say, and you're making qadha, we'll still say you have to read the full namaz, right? So that is the masla there. So now the reasoning, I gave you the reason. What's the reasoning? I tell you, فَيَقُولُ إِقْتِدَاءُ الْمُفْتَرِدِ بِالْمُتَنَفِّلِ. If you're going to say it is permissible for the musafir to read 4 rakats namaz behind the muqim, you say he is, it's a muftarid in 2 aspects. بِحَقِّ الْقَعْدَةِ, with regards to the qa'dah, and I tell you why. Because the musafir, that first qa'dah of the imam, or the first qada, it is first, because in the first he's reading 2 rakats namaz. So that means it's his last qada, and his last qada is what? Is first, right? But in a 4 rakats namaz, the first qada is wajib. So that means the imam's qada is wajib, and the muqtadi's qada is what? First. So right. So في حق العدل والقراءة, and the qiraat one is a bit complex, like I tell you. If he joined the imam, he joined his muqim imam, right, while the imam was maybe like in the 2nd rakat or 3rd rakat, then when the imam is making that qiraat in the 3rd rakat or 4th rakat, that's a nafal qiraat. That's a nafal qiraat. And for him, in his first 2 rakats, it is what? It's farz, right? Okay, carry on.
لا يتغير بنية الإقامة، فيكون ابتداء المفترض بمتنفل في حق قاعدة أو القراءة، وإن صلى المسافر.
I explained that to you. Is it clear? Yusuf, got it clear? Right, the online people, it's not clear. You can tell us, inshallah. Let's see if any question or anything there. There's some question. Some question. Right, okay. Read the next one.
صلى المسافر هنا ركعتين سنة تم المقيمون لا تضل.
Yeah, okay, simple. It's right. So, you were Musafir, right? And then you went to your family's house. So they said, okay, you be the Imam, right? Or maybe like a Qari came here to PE, whatever, from out of town, but he's a Musafir. So we can make him Imam, no problem. So وَإِنْ صَلَّى الْمُسَافِرُ بِالْمُقِيمِينَ رَكَعَتَيْنِ. So according to us, remember we've done this before, he has to read 2 rakats, he can't read 4 rakats, and we gave you the reasoning there, that if we don't sit, what will happen? It will all know salat will become batil, and if he sat, you have to make sajda sahwi, remember. And if we don't make sajda, if he sat, if you don't make sajda, it's wajibul ala fil waqt, we done all that, right? So nevertheless, you must read his safar namaz, right? I told you the Shafi'is is fine because the Shafi said the Musafir can read 4 rakats if you want to, but for the Hanafis is a problem. So if there's a visiting Qari, whatever, and you want to make him the Imam for the Isha Salat, you make him the Imam for Isha Salat, but according to Hanafi Madhab, you'll have to read 2 rakats, and then after you read the 2 rakats, the rest of the Qawm, the Muqims, the citizens, they'll have to stand up and they'll have to complete their Salat. Okay, before we look in the Kitab, they will read the 2 rakats, but the 2 rakats that they read also, they will, like a masbook, they will stand up, but they won't make kirat in there. Why they won't make kirat in there? Because we say, look here, physically, there was no kirat for the second 2 rakats. But hukman, technically speaking, there was kirat. Why? Because remember, when the Imam recited Bait Kirat in the first 2 rakats, that suffices for the second 2 rakats. Also, isn't according to Hanafi Madhab, we say that Kirat in a 4 rakats namaz, in the third rakat, in the fourth rakat, is not wajib. It is not wajib, remember? So we'll say hukman, hukman, right? Then we'll say as though the Kirat was found. So see, now you see, وإن صلى المسافر, if the Musafir, يعني أصلى الإمام والمسافر بالمقيمين, with residents, right? ركعتين 2 rakats. سلم, he will make salah after he finished 2 rakats. وأتم المقيمون صلاة. Then the Muqims, the residents, they will stand up and they will complete their salah. Why? لأن المقتدي ترجم الموافقة في الركعتين. When the Muqtadi decided to follow the Imam, he decided to follow the Imam in 2 rakats, not all, because the Imam is only reading 2 rakats, and he's taken it upon himself. Technically speaking, that he's going to read the second 2 rakats on his own, right? لأن المقتدي التزم لأن المقتدي التزم الموافقة في ركعتين فينفرد في الباقي. So he will be a munfarid in the second 2, كالمسبوقي, like a masbuq. Like, you know, what's a masbuq? A masbuq is a person who came late and he must 2 rakats. So he will stand up like a masbuq and he will read the 2 rakats, right? But only difference from a normal masbuq here is, I told you, you won't make qira'at in the 2 rakats. Why? Because we'll say that he was there from the beginning of the salah, and the Imam did make the qira'at in the soul. So the unique thing here is that this is something different, and a lot of people don't know this Masla. So when the Muqim stands up and complete his salat, which we read by Musafir Imam, he will just stand up in the third rakat, in the fourth rakat, and he will remain silent for like the duration of 3 tasbihs, and then he will continue. You don't have to make qira'at. Are you with me? Right. So there's a reading. إلا أنه لا يقرأ في الأصح. He won't have to make qira'at in the mas rakats, or the rakats that he's completing bil asahi, in the most preferred opinion. Why you don't have to make qira'at? لأنه مقتد تحريمة, because technically speaking, he did not miss any rakats. He was there from the beginning of the salah, right? So لأنه مقتد, and when you are muqtadi, right, and you from the beginning of the salah, then you don't have to read in the third rakat fajr. But la fi'lan, but physically, he's not behind the imam, because the imam finishes salah, but technically, he, so to say, he's still behind the imam, because he is reading the full salah with the imam, although the imam is reading 2 rakats, but he's reading 4 rakats in the surah. So physically, maybe he's not behind the imam, but he's still in the hukam. He's still in the law of being behind the imam. And so the qiraat of the imam suffices for him. Man kana lahu imamun fa qiraatul imami qiraatun lahu. You understood that? So wal fardu sara muadda. So we'll say that because the imam made qiraat, and as though he is, like, technically speaking, still in the salat of the imam, he's not reading his own salat. So as though the farziyat of qiraat, والفرض يعني فرض صار معدة, it has been already discharged. فيتركها احتياطا. So he will have to, he leave it out, he don't have to make qiraat. بخلاف المسبوق. But contrary to the masbuq, and no, this is a normal scenario that we know. You came late for salat, right? Say, for instance, you're normal, you are a muqim, and the imam is a muqim, right? You are a muqim, and the imam was a muqim. Now you came and joined the salat, right? So now you must the first rakat, you must the second rakat. You have to make that qiraat in your, when you're making up the mas salat. Did I teach you people already how to make up the mas salat? I never teach you. Did I show you that when you must, how you must do it? You must. I never show you this here. Sometimes maybe the ladies also, the ladies, they don't know this here. They're reading salat with the husband at home, or they're reading with their brothers. So they don't know how to make up the mas salat. The ladies, they don't know how to make up because they're not used to reading jamaat. But sometimes maybe the husband mas salat, you want to make jamaat. The way to make up your mas salat is this here. With regards to qira'at, you make, listen. With regards to qira'at, you make qada. And with regard, I'm saying what I mean by this. You know this masala, Luqman? Explain it to you. You know this masala, Yusuf? Do you know this masala? You can explain it to us? You know it. Explain it to us. With regards to postures, you make ada. With regards to qira'at, you make qada. What does that mean? When you miss salah, it's also applicable to the ladies. Maybe the ladies, they went to the haram and they came late. Or maybe the husband said, come, I got no one to make jamaat. Come make jamaat with me. And then he started, and then he thought maybe the wife will be there before he went into ruku. So she missed one ruku, or she missed one rakat with the husband. So how do you fill the miss rakats? Right. So if you, for example, miss 2 rakats, or you miss 3 rakats, whatever, the moment you stand up, you make your qiraat. You understood that? Whether you miss 1 rakat, obviously you're only going to do 1 rakat. So when you do your qada of your 1 rakat, you recite in it. Say that you miss 3 rakats, or even you miss 4 rakats. When you stand up in your first rakat, you will make qiraat in your. Well, it's your own first rakat, but it's not the first rakat. But with regards to postures, it's different. If you, for example, read 3 rakats you read 2 rakats with the imam. So technically speaking, this is your third rakat when you stand up. So then normally the third rakat, what you do, you don't make the shout, make rakat in the pot. So say, for instance, you miss 3 rakats. So then what must you do? When you stand up, if you must 3 rakats with the imam, you must 3 rakats with the imam. Now you're standing up, you do the first of the 3 rakats. But you said what the showed after that? Yes, because this is your second rakat. So you make ada. So whatever rakat you've done, you count your rakats going forward as though you're making ada, but with regards to the postures of the tashahud. Is that clear? You understood that? So your qiraat, you fill it in immediately. Your qiraat, when you're making filling up the mas salat, your qiraat, you do it immediately. Your qiraat, you do it immediately. But your postures, you work it as though this is your second posture, this is your third posture, this is your fourth posture. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what he's saying here. بخلاف المسبوق, but contrary to a masbuq, if a masbuq must 2 rakats, you must still make qiraat in the 2 rakats. Not the musafir. You don't have to do it, right? So بخلاف لأنه أدرك قراءة نافلة فلم يتأدى الفرض. So they saying, what they say here, say for instance, a masbook, it came, you just not nothing about Musafir now, just that you came late to the masjid, right? And the Imam already read 2 rakats, and you joined the Imam in the 3rd rakat. So you're going to read your 2 rakats. You have to make kirat in both rakats. Why? You can't say, okay, the Imam did make kirat in the second 2 rakats, but because that kirat, according to the Hanafi madhab, is nafil. That kirat is what? Is nafil. And you must what kirat? You must first kirat. So you have to make your first kirat. You can't let the nafil kirat of the Imam suffice for your nafil kirat, right? لأنه أدرك قراءة النافل فلم يتأدى الفرض فكان الإتيان أولى. So that's why it's better that you must make your qira'at there, because your qira'at was a nafil qira'at, right? Then, okay, the next part is an easy one. Boys, I hope that's clear. If there's anything not clear, you can say. If any questions or questions, I hope it's clear. Yeah. Yes, correct. So if the Musafir Imam, after 2 rakats, he makes salam and terminates his salah, the rest of the congregation carries on with the salah. So how does the next Imam come to lead the congregation? No, they must read on their own. They must make, there's no new Imam. They must just read the namaz as though they missed the 2 rakats. There's no new Imam to continue with the salah. Or the new Imam, that is istikhlaf, that will come to that when a person's wuzu break and you pull a new Imam to come to finish the salah. That will come later on. Or we done it, we do it already. We done it already. No, so yeah. So yeah, you don't need, you just complete your namaz. If you are musafir and you reading behind the imam, if you are muqim, sorry, and reading by the musafir imam, you just stand up and you complete your salah. You don't, there's no imam, and then you don't have to make kirat. That's why I see that they says, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ, it is mustahab for the imam that إذا سلم, this comes in Kuduri also, you might remember, أيقول, you must say, the imam must say, أتموا صلاتكم, O people, complete your salah, فإن قوم سفر, we are travelers, because maybe sometimes a person is so in a dwal, he didn't realize that the Imam made 2 rakats and he also made 2 rakats. He just think, okay, whatever the Imam is reading, I'm reading, right? So if he was in a dwal and he didn't pick up, he didn't realize that this guy is making qasr namaz, or maybe he knew this person is making qasr namaz, and I have to make it Imam, and he forgot, and he just made salam. So that's why that it's mustahab for the Imam to remind him. So you say, you'll say, after you say, Assalamu alaikum, she'll say, Atimmu salatakum fa inna qawmun safrun. Yeah, that complete your salah because we are peer travelers. That's one is to remind the person, and the other main reason is لأنه عليه السلام قال حين صلى بأهل مكة وهو مسافر, when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam at the conquest of Makkah, or maybe not even from the conquest of Makkah, maybe when he went for Hajj or whatever, then when he read the Musafir Salah, when he told the people of Makkah that you must complete your Salah because we are Musafir. Right. So we stop there, inshallah. We'll continue tomorrow. Today is Tuesday. Allah Ta'ala accept it. Allah Ta'ala make it shawj and our mizan. Allah Ta'ala make it a means of our shifa to grant us cure so that for many, many years of the pain.